Well, hello again. Just realized the other day that I've never made an introductory video for my channel. I've just been throwing up videos from time to time as I worked on stuff and repaired things and whatnot. And so I thought, well, this is as good a time as any to kind of do an introduction as to why I've got this channel up and what I'm doing with it. Working on an axe handle here today. This is a stave split out of a block of rock maple. I had the rock maple block. It dried a couple of years, and so I've just been working here making a handle for a splitting axe. I'm based in New Brunswick, Canada, on the East Coast. Old family farm that's been in the family for since 1820, and we've got a few hundred acres here, a lot of woods land and some cropland. We keep some animals and whatnot. More subsistence farming than really farming for a dollar. My ancestors, my great-great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, they did a lot of growing hay, especially for sale to the lumber camps. Of course, New Brunswick, if you know anything of our province, we've got a strong forestry industry here, and or used to. And one thing about the lumber camps back in the 1800s and the early part of the 1900s, everything was done by horsepower. And so when you had a crew of guys in the woods and you had 15, 20, 30 teams of horses yarding logs and hauling sleds, you had to have a good hay supply. And so my family was they grew hay. They had one of the old-fashioned hay presses, which was a forerunner to the modern-day hay balers. They would press the hay into 100-pound bales and sled it to the logging camps. Or there was a dealer up west of us, upriver, that had a big supply business, and he'd buy the pressed hay, and from there it would go to the lumber camps. And they also did a lot of potatoes. My family was Irish potato farmers. They came over here before the Irish famine, but potatoes was a big thing for my family. And then woods work. Of course, in my area, every small farmer worked in the woods in the wintertime. That was how you survived and how you kept the bills paid. And so we had a strong background in forestry and sustainable forestry. We were never into clear cuts and that whole thing that goes with it today. They always select harvested and worked with horses in the woods. And that's the background that I came from. Now, my father, when I was growing up, my father was one of the old school guys that did not hire stuff done. And I think that's where I developed the mindset or the psyche that anything I can do myself, I'm not going to hire somebody else to do it. My father never hired a carpenter. He done all his own carpentry, his cabinet making, plumbing, mechanical repairs. About the only thing he never touched was electrical, and it's kind of funny. That's the one thing that the trade that I took up when I got out of school and get out in the workforce. And but my father was the kind of guy that if he needed anything, he made it, he repaired it, or he did without it. And that's kind of what he passed on to me over the years. And so when I started this channel, I didn't start it with the intent and purpose of making myself famous or making a lot of money off it. I mean, I got 40, 50, 60,000 views on some of my videos, and I've still got less than 1,000 subscribers. So YouTube is not paying me anything to do these videos. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe, because you got to be over 1,000 subscribers before YouTube sends a dime your way. But I started this channel for the full intent and purpose of just passing on a little bit of ideas as far as repairs and making things, and you know, how to handle your woodlots and whatnot. And it all stems from the fact that, you know, I'm still the guy that if I need an axe handle, I'm going to make an axe handle. I'm not going to drive 50 miles southwest of here to a hardware store in the city and buy an axe handle made out of, you know, unfortunately now a lot of the axe handles are made out of foreign wood that, I don't know, they just don't stand up. One of my sons bought a pickaxe not too long ago, and about the third swing with the pickaxe and it broke. So this axe stave right here that I'm working on was a block of rock maple. Cut it a couple of years ago. As you can see, you're making an axe handle. You want your grain running up and down through the wood this way. So we split it out. Take a side axe. This is what I've been using here. This is a single bevel side axe. You can see it's beveled on this side, but on this side it's just a flat grind. And take a side axe and flatten the stave out, and then shape it down. And of course, one of my favorite tools that I use anytime I'm making axe handles is the crooked knife. A lot of people don't understand the crooked knife, but they're a very handy tool. This rock maple has been dried for a couple of years, but crooked knife makes short work of it. And just a handy little tool for, you know, getting into the nooks and crannies, the bends on an axe handle. One of the reasons for doing the channel is to promote self-ability. I've always operated under the belief that what one man can do, any man can do. We're not held back by anything other than ambition and just the nerve to step out and do stuff. And I think with the current condition of our supply chain, I mean, if any of you are self-aware, you know that our supply chain today is in bad condition. A lot of things in short supply that shouldn't be in short supply. A lot of things are overpriced that shouldn't be overpriced. And I think globalization has been one of the biggest mistakes that society has made in the past 1,000 years. It should be apparent to, you know, governments and corporations that globalization is not working. When I was a young lad, just in our local area, there was 2 or 3 general stores. There was a couple of hardware stores. You know, there was a bunch of little mom and pop stores around where you could go and get a few grocery items or whatnot. If you needed an axe handle back in those days, you went to any of those stores and you could get an axe handle. Good quality, usually locally made, and didn't cost an arm and a leg to buy it. Today, if I wanted to buy an axe handle, like I say, I got a 50-mile drive into the city to buy one of questionable quality, and that axe handle is going to cost me, you know, $25, $30, where not too many years ago, that same axe handle, I could have bought one around here for 10, 12 bucks. Not that I buy axe handles, I make my own, but just making the point that globalization has been the death of local economy. Those stores that I speak of, the general stores, are gone. One of them's been replaced with a kind of a convenience store thing, chain store. The other general store is gone. All of the little mom and pop stores are gone. One of the 2 hardware stores is gone. The other one has problems getting, you know, any amount of goods. Everybody's blaming the supply chain since COVID. I don't think COVID was the reason behind everything being in short supply. I think there's more to it than that, but I won't get into that. Conspiracy theories and all. But the idea behind my channel is to promote the fact that what our ancestors did, what the old timers even 40, 50 years ago were doing, you can do it. You need an axe handle, you can make an axe handle. It takes very simple tools. This crooked knife, I made this. You could do the same thing with a good quality hunting knife. You're just doing your cuts the other way. Anybody that can use an axe can smooth out a stave. I'm going to do another video here in a little while on taking an axe handle right from a block to the finished product. If you're not comfortable using an axe, or if you're having a hard time getting a stave flattened out with an axe, if you've got one of the electric hand planers, they'll do a wonderful job on a stave of wood, taking it down to your thickness before you start cutting out for the axe handle shape. Like I say, I'm going to do a video here before too long of taking one to final shape in both ways, with an axe and with an electric planer. But the idea behind this channel is more to encourage people to come into the realization that you can do this stuff. This isn't rocket science to be able to make an axe, or make a pitchfork, or a wooden bucket, or whatever it is that you choose to make. What the old timers made, they did it through attention to detail, putting the tools to the wood, and like anything, the first one or two that you make may not look like much, but after you've done a few, you'll get into you'll get the process under your belt, and you'll realize that hey, this really isn't that hard. And I think in the current scheme of things, the way that the supply chain is going, I think the ability to make stuff yourself is going to be increasingly more important every day, because everything from growing your own food, if you've been to the grocery store lately, you know what I'm talking about. The price on groceries is going through the roof, and the availability of groceries is going into the basement. Who would have thought 10 years ago you could walk into a Walmart and there's shelf after shelf that's empty? This is Canada. You guys in the United States, you got the same thing. You guys in England, you know what I'm talking about. Shortages on food supplies shouldn't be happening at this stage of the game. We've came far enough as a society that we should have had it figured out by now, how to feed ourselves. And the unfortunate point is globalization, control of the economy by large corporations, control of our food supplies, control of the logistics chains, has been put into the hands of people that don't have the good of the common man in their best interest. And so when you tune into my channel, you're going to see a bunch of videos on how to take care of yourself, how to be more self-reliant. I'm not talking full self-sufficiency, because I don't think in this day and age we can go completely self-sufficient. Like this, for example. I can make this knife, but I can't make this steel. I can't get this quality. I'm sure there are people that they can take iron ore and they can work it down, but there's too many things that we can't make ourselves, but there's a whole lot that we can make. And that's what I want to stress on this channel, that there is a great amount of self-sufficiency, self-reliance that we can have in our lives that maybe we don't have right now, because we've been accustomed to being able to go to a store and buy everything that we need. And I think, you know, in the short term, I think we've seen our golden years with the availability of products and energy. I think we've seen our golden years, and I think we're going to see society revert back to a stage where people are going to have to be much more self-reliant or just flat out do without. And there's so many things that we can't do without. Here in the north, you can't do without heat. And so you need wood. And if I need wood, I need a handle for a splitting axe. So, you know, there's a lot of things we can do for ourselves that maybe in the past we've willingly run to the store and bought the product of somebody else, and you know that's not a bad thing, because that keeps the economy going. But at the end of it, sometimes you just need what you can't buy, and you know, maybe it's an economic situation, or maybe it's your distance from a supplier. Having the ability to make your own and do for yourself is very important, and it's not just a man thing. I mean, I've seen ladies that can make some pretty good product at you know, handle tools as well as any man. So I know most of my viewers, from looking at the analytics on my channel, most of my viewers are guys, but there's a lot of ladies out there that know how to do stuff as well or better than some of the guys out there that are doing it right now. So that's where I'm coming from. That's the idea behind this channel, just to pass on some tips and some know-how, and maybe give you some ideas. I'm not saying my ways are the way to do it. I'm just saying, here's how I do it and what works for me. This is what I've seen my father and my grandfather do, and so that's kind of what I want to pass on with this channel. That's the direction I want to go. So you guys can help me out. If you're one of the 65,000 that have watched my video on running the log wizard, debarking logs, hit the subscribe button. You know, help a guy out a little bit. Anyway, that's what it is. So yeah, this axe handle takes a little bit of shaping, and yeah, I could put machines to work and, you know, take this down to bandsawed shape. Problem I see with the bandsawn handles that you get on axes when you buy them today is they're made by guys that didn't go to the woods and work with an axe. Is the unfortunate point. My son bought a Matic not too long ago. We always called them the Mad Axe. My son bought a Matic, and the handle looked real impressive. It was kind of a I don't know, a double teardrop shape. But the problem was, when you grabbed the handle, there was a ridge at the top and a ridge at the bottom. And about 4 swings into using the Matic, you realize why the old guys didn't do that when they made a handle. Because that makes a very, very uncomfortable grip. So when you make your own axe handles, you can shape them perfectly to the fit of your hand, how you want them to be. And if you follow the way that the old guys done it, the old guys worked with axes every day. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they wanted. They knew what was comfortable. So if you go back to the old style, the old way of making them, you got an axe handle that you could work all day without your hands being so sore by day's end that you didn't want to pick up an axe the next morning. So there's something to be said for following the ways of what the old timers did. sometimes I'll look at a tool or, you know, a piece of work that was done years ago, and I'll just, you know, sit there and look at it for a while, because I'm trying to visualize what was going on in the maker's mind when he was making it, and what they saw as the reason for doing it the way that they done it. But anyway, that's where I'm from. That's where I'm going. Stay by.